No, it's actually really funny because in my like in my D&D session, like I actually used the word parlay, which made like my DM laugh because it was just like just came out of nowhere. It's like, mate, I'm trying to role play here, all right? Don't
It's
laugh
like,
at
I've
me.
got this shit.
I got this shit.
I think I'm just gonna. You got anything else to say before it gets all live?
No, 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 not at all, not at all.
Alright, I'll try to
Um,
do a spiel, even though it's the first one and barely no one's gonna listen to it, but here we go. Alright, welcome to the first ever episode of the Pancake Parlay. My name is the Don, and I'm joined with
Chowders.
Chowders. Yeah, that was a nice delay you got there. Um, so let's just gonna have a general rundown of what the hell this damn thing is, and if you did click it, well, good on you because you're probably the only person. This is just a general offbeat talking podcast about things we love in general pop culture, like in movies and TV, video games, and so on and so forth. And yeah, basically the name kind of came out from another person who I'm friends with, who's not on the podcast at the current moment. And basically, every time there was a movie premiere, the only place open would be Pancake Parlor, and we'd just generally go there at 2 o'clock in the morning and talk about the movie that we just watched or whatever we're watching. And basically, we're going to try to bring that to home and something a rambling format. Because for what I noticed, and Chowders, you can actually probably talk about this a little bit more, is that do you feel like people like our opinion? Like every time we're at a party, they're just like, "Oh, what do you think about this show?" You know?
Um, I don't know. I kind of think that like the majority of things that we like would I don't know, people would agree with. It's just that we have like the odd things that we like either kind of like really like or really dislike. I think one of my controversial opinions is the fact that I don't really like the Guardians of the Galaxy movies that much. Like,
Ooh, I didn't even
yeah.
know about that.
Well, I mean, I think it's a general criticism of like Marvel movies though, because it's I think after I think Captain America, Winter Soldier. This is the
Yeah,
second Captain
yeah,
America movie.
yeah. I agree.
They went very like by the numbers in how they kind of do their movies. And so with the whole Guardian of the Galaxy thing can be for another podcast, right? But
Hmm.
that's like an example of a thing that like I don't like that much. Like I'd give it like average rating, not like the 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10 people give the movie. I don't think it's that good. Like that's just an example of like controversial opinion.
Yeah, I've seen like Guardians of the Galaxy have like an insanely high rating on like Rotten Tomatoes and even IMDb, which I'm just like, it's got like an
Mm.
8 point something, and I'm just like, that's like reserved for Oscar type films, and it's right up there. So it's really weird.
Yeah. I mean, Rotten Tomato. Okay, so it's like a rating system issue, right?
Hmm.
Like Rotten Tomatoes, it's like what if it's 60% or higher, it's considered fresh,
Yeah.
and then if it's 59 and below, it's considered rotten. So the thing is, like, the only thing I believe this to be correct is that all it kind of is saying is like this percentage of reviewers think positively of the movie. So like somebody might give the movie like a 7 or like a 6, but that's still positive even if the overall movie gets like a 90% like fresh rating. If you have everybody give like 60%, then like it's still more liked than disliked.
Yeah, yeah, I see what you mean. But yeah, I kind of on that point, like I kind of generally kind of feel the same way. I think Guardians was kind of the tipping point. I actually heard someone actually make a really good comparison of what they're doing to Marvel characters. Is that Disney's making Marvel characters like Disney characters, where they're just generally one note and they kind of have one trait, and that's kind of their trait that they base off their whole character on. And that's kind of like a kind of a general way where they're just making it like less of a third three-dimensional well-rounded character and making it more just like Tony Stark's an asshole. Let's just that's all his thing. There's no like sympathy going with Tony Stark. While before Guardians, it felt like I don't know, it felt like they're more like characters.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've actually heard this opinion as well. It's just a general issue with I think, comic book industry at the moment. But I've heard that point being made, in particularly about like the Spider-Man movie. Now, I liked Homecoming,
Hmm.
um, although I don't think it made the like the box office sales that I think Disney wanted it to.
Yeah,
Um,
I was even talking to my today with one of my friends. It is the second lowest grossing Spider-Man film, right behind the Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Too,
So
which is insane because I hate like
those
Amazing
movies,
Spider-Man 1 and 2.
yeah, those movies, I have a passion hate for that. Like I even didn't even want to go to the cinema for the first one because I fucking
Hmm.
knew. But yeah, we can literally talk forever about that damn thing because honestly, like we can do a hate cast at some point and be like,
I hate cast, yeah. Well,
whatever movie this
I think
is.
I think just to clarify for any listeners, like when we use hate, we don't use it in like a very like literal term. It's like just a bit. People get very anal about like, oh, you hate something,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I guess to just clarify, we just mean it as like in just like a really passionately dislike of something.
Exactly.
Um,
Yeah, cause
yeah, and
yeah, with freaking internet these days, it's always too like it's an extreme. Either you really love the film or you really hate the film. Like
yeah, Don,
even
you sound like an old man.
yeah,
Internet these
yeah.
days.
That's the thing. That's what I hate so much about internet culture and internet reviewing. It kind of has destroyed general reviews of a lot of things where it's just like this is something where like if you like hard to explain, but essentially, when people, for example, don't like Man of Steel, purely on the basis that I don't know that he killed a bunch of people accidentally at the end fight, that's the not the type of person that I review on. Like, if there's one little thing about the film, it doesn't make me hate the whole film. That's not me.
Right. Sure, sure. Like really small things that like kind of don't make a really big impact on the overall film.
Yeah, exactly. Because
Yeah.
there's a lot of people just like, this thing happened in this movie, therefore meaning it's bad. Like that's not
Right.
me. Like I
Yeah,
can
yeah.
I can forego a few things if it means like the movie was good. You know?
I don't know. I kind of like this is the thing though. I think like in particular with someone like Superman and Batman, they're quite iconic characters, and so people like they're probably the more fair. Like I'm more of a DC fan than a Marvel fan,
Hmm.
right? And I think like but like the thing is both of the kind of heroes like Marvel and DC, they prop their heroes out very differently, where like in DC they're more like these like almost godlike figures, right? And or like like mythical figures, whereas in like the Marvel universe they're kind of like your everyman, like it's just like they have their own life and they're trying to like yeah.
Your friendly neighborhood Spider Man, if you will.
Well, yeah, so it's a good example. And so when you try and do something different with the character, like with Superman, like killing people, or Batman, like running people over and shooting him in
Fuck
Batman v
yeah.
Superman, like people just think, oh, that's not Batman, but it's like maybe they're trying to do something different creatively. I think it's very like people have like moral absolutes, right? And
Hmm.
we're not going to get on a philosophy uh thing here, but like when they see something that seems like out of character, it might just be that like they're taking like a creative difference. Like you won't see that for something like Guardians of the Galaxy, because the characters from a theatrical perspective have never been interpreted at all, whereas like I would imagine the characters are nothing like their comic book counterparts, or not nothing like, but like in the sense
Loose
they kind of
adaptation.
diverge a little bit. Yeah, like like I don't think Star Lord would be like Star Lord, and it happens actually all the time. Like I think Tony Stark is a mostly or was not that big of a character
He was
in
like
like
C
by comparison,
list. Yeah.
yeah, C-list, B-list kind of character until Robert Downey Jr. kind of took on the role, and you can see they make the characters look more like the actor, and then like act more like them, because the actors like now represent what the character is going to be in a sense. I think it's happened with like um, Batman before. It's definitely happened with Wonder Woman in like the Rebirth um, series, because they've made like her costume more like Gal Gadot's. Although they've been like doing a little bit like that for a while, but it looks like pretty much like one for one if you compare the costumes. And it's purposely done to just kind of make it all iconic with like the movie and what people read in the comics. which I can't really say so much for Marvel comics these days. But again, totally different topic there.
Yeah, there's so much freaking unpacking that whole thing. Like
Yeah, yeah.
like the in general, what I think is like I think DC in general have earned the right to, I guess, like be able to have a different take of these characters. Like, unlike Marvel, which is kind of on and off again. You know, for example, like Batman was like 1989, or even Superman in the 70s. Like these things have been iconic for way more longer than Marvel characters. So in a cinematic form. So I think
Mm.
they can have the right to kind of, you know, because I think the easiest way to explain it is the Zack Snyder DC universe has been uh, basically a deconstruction of superheroes and what it all means, and is it even worth it, and more philosophical type of questions, and that's why they have a little bit more deeper meaning and more of a, I guess, darker tone in that sense. But it's something different, and I honestly think Warner Brothers has the right to be do something different about the characters.
Yeah, I think they just have to get the right visionaries on it. Because I mean, like, I really liked Wonder Woman, except for the final part. But that's just my kind of general dislike of like beam fights. Oh yes, I guess it's a bit of a
None of that Dragon
spoil.
Ball,
No,
none of these Dragon Ball Z fights.
well, I mean, well, that's the thing. Like Dragon Ball Z started it, so they can like use it, and even in the Dragon Ball Evolution movie, if you've seen it, they don't even do it that good of a job of doing beam fights. But it's just visually it's really like boring, and visually it's also like it's kind of there's not a lot of effort that's made into doing it. Whereas like you know with like finales are supposed to be like a really big deal. But overall, like everything else, I kind of really liked about it. Although I have heard comparisons to Captain America: The First Avenger, which I think
Yeah.
is apt, but I think I still like the movie on like its own merits. Like it still does like a very good job with what's being presented and building the world and having you. But and I think this kind of goes out to um, Gal Gadot because I think that just goes to show how very like convincing she is as an actress and playing the role of like this naive but very competent kind of female superhero. Something that we haven't really seen so far,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
done well,
yeah.
done well.
Done
I mean,
well. We've
Catwoman and Elektra aside, right?
yeah, yeah, good times. Like everyone's like talking about, oh yeah, I never see tough women, but it's like you do see tough women, but you never see it in like this particular form. Like, everyone's talking about that kind of old lady in Kung Fu Hustle. She's kind of powerful, or even Buffy. Things like that. So
Hmm.
it's kind of in that general direction.
Yeah.
We got off track so far.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But
That's it, man.
I generally wanted to do is just talk about what we like and what we don't like. I'll start.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I'm obviously I'm a big fan of film and TV. Um, I'm a big fan of video games. I'm kind of like a jack of all trades, master of none, but master at a lot actually. Like I don't know. I'm a big movie fan. Like as in like I deconstruct movies a lot, and I know I'm more the artsy fartsy motherfucker who's like, yeah, this cinematography is awesome, and yeah. So I have not a lot of knowledge in pop culture and what's going on in the world, and yeah. So what do what about you?
So yeah, you know what? I'd probably class myself as a jack of all trades as well. Like, video games, movies, TV, anime.
Yeah, yeah, the anime.
Like yeah, anime. Or for all our anime listeners, all our weebs out there. But yeah, like comics. Like I haven't really had much time to read comics with work. But yeah, like I tend to not analyze so much when I'm watching a movie. I think like that just comes from I did what media course back in high school, and that often kind of revealed a lot of like kind of techniques, such as like low like the kind of camera angling to show like X or Y. And I remember like I picked it up at a time, but like I've mostly forgot all of that kind of stuff. It's more easier to analyze like poster film,
Mm.
which I kind of tend to do more, unless something like really dumb happens on screen that kind of take me away from the experience.
Yeah, like it once again, if you are into that, like what I would suggest, and it's a good pro tip, is just go on YouTube because there's a lot of deconstruction videos now of like how this scene works and so on and so forth. So it's kind of a good hack if you don't want to go to film school, basically.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Well, you can do anything on the internet these days.
Yeah, yeah. There's
But
so
yeah,
many
that
sites.
yeah, and well, yeah, that's basically my likes. Like, I can talk about a broad range of topics.
Yeah.
'Cause, yeah, generally interested in a lot of things. Don?
Yeah. Well. On that note, have you been watching anything or playing anything? What have you been doing recently?
Recently I've had quite a bit of time off, so I have actually caught up on a lot of anime recently.
Oh yeah, here we go. The weave talk. Here we go.
Yeah, we've talked. Well, no, I'll make it brief because like so I've been behind on Naruto. I've been watching that since
Life.
yeah, since life. No, I think like early uni or like early high school. Sorry, late high school. But like I've been putting off finishing it just because it was all fillers and the last kind of arc was just like boring. But like I was just like, you know what? I want to commit to these last couple of episodes, and I did. And then I started watching. It's like the next series. So what I finished was Naruto Shippuden, and the new series is Boruto. What is it? Naruto Generations or whatever.
Yeah, the guy who
Which is
sounds
basically about
the guy who sounds like burrito.
yeah. Well, yeah, just sounds
It's such a
ridiculous.
bad name.
No. Well, the thing is, like, his name is supposed to be like, oh, well, this is what I was told. Can't clarify it, but from what I understand, like, it's supposed to be Bolto, right? Because like like lightning, but because like L's and R's like don't really translate very well, it just comes off as Boruto, so it doesn't sound
Doesn't
very
sound. Oh my god, Boruto is gonna do something fucking wild right here.
yeah. But it's kind of like the same premise. Like I don't know if you watched Naruto at all, Don, but essentially, the show kind of follows on from the original series where Naruto is kind of like an orphan trying to like, make a name for himself because he's a bit of like a Dennis the Menace delinquent. And he doesn't have parents or anything like that, and the cycle kind of repeats with this new series because you have his son, but now that his dad has essentially become the kind of
Hokage,
leader or the Hokage,
if you will.
if you will, of the village. He never has time for his family anymore, so it's almost like his son resents him for that, and is therefore a delinquent to get his attention. So it's kind of like you're seeing a lot of like, in a way, it's kind of lazy writing because it's like, well, uh, what do we do? Oh, well, let's just rehash
Yeah.
Naruto again, right? But there could be some interesting stuff in it, and so I've just kept it as just something I'm watching just daily. And I guess the other thing I've been watching is One Piece because yeah, I've just like been busy, haven't had time, so I had a bit of a backlog, so I've caught up with that as well. It's like up to like 800 episodes something now, so yeah, it's quite a lot.
That's honestly insane. Like when I watch anime, I usually watch like the stuff that's like 24 episodes, sometimes
Hmm.
50. But man, like those like I forgot the Shonen Jump series where they're like 100 plus episodes. I'm like, my god,
Yeah,
like
like Naruto, Bleach, One Piece. Those are like known as the big three. Like yeah, like those are quite long. And Fairy Tail, that's another one.
yeah.
I think I could
That
do
dropped heavy. I didn't like I don't know if it's still going or anyone watches that, but I remember
Fairy Tail.
for
I
about
don't know.
1 year that was the shit. You know?
Yeah, I don't know. Like the thing is, I couldn't do another like serial anime at this stage, just because like One Piece will probably be like the only one I'll watch just because I'm like committed to the show. The show would have to be pretty good for me to watch like several hundred episodes of. Like I think it is easy for a new person to jump on and watch it. However, just because like they have made or they are slowly making kind of OVAs, so original video animation. I think
Hmm.
that's what it stands
I
for.
think so.
Yeah, and essentially they'll just be like condensed versions of a particular arc, right? So like there would be like for One Piece there was like I think the OVA was called like episode of Nami, which is one of the characters in the show, and basically it is just like a high definition retelling of one of the earlier arcs in the show. So instead of watching like I don't know, maybe like 10, 15 episodes, you could just watch like that one thing and get the bulk of what the show or what the arc is about. So I think it's much more easier than it would have been in the past for somebody who's out of the loop to catch up. Um, but yeah, like I totally get you. Like yeah, serial animes and just serial stuff in general. Like it's really hard. For like I kind of get it. Like One Piece to me would probably be what Bold and the Beautiful is like for my mom.
Mm.
Just because like I'm too committed now. Too many years.
We're too in. We know these characters. We know where they're going.
Exactly.
We can't stop now. Like
Can't stop
it took me about like 4 years to complete like the original Naruto series, like all 220 episodes, because I had this thing like, and this was like back in high school where I watched quite a bit up until like episode like 78, 79, around where the Gara era kind of fit in, and then and then all of a sudden I just dropped and just stopped, and then for some I had all the episodes. I'm like banked in. I'm just like, maybe I should start watching it. So it took me like on and off again, like for a while for me to be like, okay, it's nearly done, and just fucking watch it all in bulk. Like that's the thing. Like I watched all of Dragon Ball Z, like including like Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball GT, because that was all when I was a kid, and it was really easy to watch. But now since there's so much stuff going on and everyone's being adults and doing adult things, it's like, well, shit. Like even though like episodes are about what 22 minutes when you take out like opening and end credits.
Yeah.
Like you can technically get like 3 episodes done in like 1 hour. So like you could do it if you really needed to.
I think that there's also just a competition of just more things to watch. Like maybe back in the day, like you'd watch Saturday morning cartoons and stuff, but now like everything's just you watch it online, you watch it on Netflix, you watch it on this. Like there's so much stuff to watch. Like who has time for like a huge serial that's like maybe mediocre? Like I wouldn't recommend One Piece to anyone who isn't like an anime fan, kind of thing, or and is able to like kind of deal with watching that kind of show. But what about you, Don? What have you been watching recently?
I recently watched with my friends. I watched Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets, directed by directed by Luc Besson and written by Luc Besson, and based off a European comic
Luc
book.
Besson?
I think he does do a cameo. Like a lot of that stuff, he does it actually a lot in these films. Just no one no one really knows. Like what the fuck?
Yeah, nobody knows what he looks like or something. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
I do. He's like a chubby guy with a grayish beard now. Like
okay.
He's kind of got that look. Kind of looks like a Hodor, but he doesn't hold doors.
What has he done before?
Most people know him off The Fifth Element, which is like a well-beloved.
Cool. Yeah.
And that's where he based off a lot of the concepts from the Valerian comic book. He did Lucy recently, and that's kind of like either some people say it's a hit, some people say it's mostly a miss. Let's see, what else did he do? He writes a lot of stuff. He did Leon the Professionals, wrote and direct that. So
I've heard of that movie. I haven't watched it. I like Fifth Element. Yeah, Fifth Element's great movie. So I haven't seen Valerian, but I keep seeing ads about it. So how was it?
I liked it. I wouldn't say it's the best movie out there. It's a solid like 7.5 out of 10, 7 around there, where it's like maybe got some issues here and there, but overall I think it's a great experience. Like it's visually interesting.
Oh, sorry, do go.
No, I paid to see it in like a cinema around us that had a good screen and good sound, and geez, it's beautiful. Not only in just the sense of looks and sound, but just the way everything kind of just works. And like the only thing negative I could possibly say about the film is probably just like the script is a little bit weak, and the characters and I guess the acting is a little bit poor. Like you got that
Okay.
you got the Cara Delevingne lady, the girl who played Enchantress, and she's
Yep, yep.
so it's kind of like okay, she's kind of new to acting. And then you got Dane DeHaan, the depressed guy who looks like he's tired all the time guy. He
Okay.
does it was Amazing Spider-Man 2. He's the Green Goblin. I'm like, yeah,
Oh, okay. Yeah, all right. Yeah, no, I can see that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I'm just like, okay, okay. But aside from that, I really wish this movie made more money because it's like one of those like low scoring type of gem type of films. Like the movie introduces like a new cool concept like every 15 minutes. Like it's like a non-stop pace where it's like we're going here, something happens, we're gonna do here, and something happens. Like it's a good flow, and I don't know, I like it, and yeah, more people should watch it, guys.
Yeah. I don't know. I kept thinking like the this movie kind of seemed like one of those. You said it's based off a book or a comic book?
Based off a comic book called like Valerian and Laureline or Laureline. It's like a French comic book, and Luc Besson's French, and
Okay.
yeah, this is basically his what he kind of grew up on, and this is what he was always wanted to do. So yeah, it's kind of got that. But from my understanding, the City of a Thousand Planets story is actually midway through like a all the comic books in the comic book arc. So it's kind of like you're planted in there, but it's probably like the best story to kind of do straight away, because it kind of reminds me of I think it's Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Like that isn't technically the first book out of that whole series,
Oh,
or
is that so?
I think it
I,
was
I
something
didn't
like
know
that.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's like one of those where they drop you off in probably the best place
Story-wise.
in yeah, the story wise, because then there's probably just a lot of setup and all that crap. But yeah, like it's probably not going to get a sequel, and I don't think it was supposed to get a sequel. I think it's just you know, it's a standalone thing, and it works. It works really well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, well, okay, so the thing is, like, I kind of saw this movie and it just had, well, sorry, I didn't see it, but, like, I saw the trailers for it, and it just had a very, um, like, the kind of movie that was, like, a book adapted into a movie kind of feel to it,
Mm.
right? Like, like Hunger Games, and there's, like, like, the Maze Runner. Like, that's what this, like, movie kind of screamed out to me, and I was just like, I'm not really interested in it, right? And I don't know if that's like might be the reason why. Like this is just my own kind of reasoning as to why I wasn't that interested in it. But like I'm looking at it now, it has Rihanna in it.
Yeah, and it's yeah, she plays like an alien that can like shapeshift and to like anything. Um,
Okay.
yeah, like the alien designs are really cool, and even the opening is really cool. Like I'm pretty sure no one's gonna bother if I spoil the freaking start of the film. But basically, it starts at like modern day. It's got David Bowie, it's Matt Grant controlled and Major Tom, and does this kind of like montage of like 2017 and then like 2020 and like freaking 2150, and there's all these people coming to this big the station, which is the Thousand Planets station, and it's
Mhm.
different aliens, different races, everything comes along, they all shake hands and be nice. It's like we're all in it together, like it was great. Like even the start was like, yeah, I was full in. Even and there was jokes in there, that was solid. I think maybe it's hit and miss because once again my friends kind of like some of this stuff is really weird. It's just this. I think maybe the script and the acting is a little bit off. But aside from that,
Mhm.
I found it was pretty fun.
Yeah, no, no, that's cool, man. And you're totally right. Dane DeHaan, that's the guy. He totally looks super tired.
Yeah, I
Like,
know. Like I swear to God, people, look up his name. He looks like he's sad, depressed. He's like, I don't want to do this type of. I know he's got the dark eye thing going on. He was in
yeah,
Chronicle. That's the first thing I saw him in. He was the main guy in that, and like
Chronicle.
he
Yeah.
was the depressed guy in that. So I'm like, yeah, it kind of
Mm.
makes sense. Aside from that, I have also been watching a show called Blood Drive. You've been watching that?
Blood Drive. No, I have not. What is Blood Drive?
Blood Drive is like a weird TV show that's kind of like it's like a grindhouse film where essentially there's just a
Okay.
bunch of races. The races like weird, like one like a fat Elvis, for example, or like a clown thing, and basically go on this race in like a dystopian post-apocalyptic kind of future, and they're like, oh, if you're last person through the race, your head explodes, and so one last like arrive, dies type of thing. So it's very like it's trying to take out 100% of that grindhouse type of flavor. It's even filmed in that particular way, and it knows what it is, and I know what it is. It's stupid fun, and if you approach it in that way, it is a fun show to just randomly put on and be like, what the fuck is this, and what's going on here? This makes no sense, but who cares? Type of thing. So you might like
Oh,
it.
okay. Yeah, interesting. I'm looking it up now, trying to get some pictures going. So it's made by Sci-Fi, is it? Sci-Fi Channel.
It's got that particular flavor to it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's hard to explain, but it feels like this is just a fun time, and yeah, I enjoy it. So if anyone likes stupid stuff, I would say probably watch that.
Ah, yeah, no, fair enough. No, that's cool. Hey, by the way, just to go back to the topic of Valerian,
Hmm.
um, what's your opinion of movies or just kind of like shows in general that like give like the year in the actual like movie?
Ooh,
Like they'll say like 2017. I kind of feel like it gets outdated really quickly when they do stuff like that.
yeah.
Because like when you try and watch it like 10 years from now, you kind of look at it and it's just like, what?
Yeah, like what the hell was happening in this year? You know, clearly.
Yeah. 'Cause
Yeah.
I always find it kind of weird. Like I always prefer it when they do like maybe like they put the X's in front of like
Mm.
what the actual year is. Um, but that's just like a more stylistic thing more than anything that's real. But it's just like I forget what I was watching recently, and they gave the year, and I was just like, hey man, like nothing like that's happened yet.
Like
But
in
it's always very
space or whatever.
sorry, yeah, like they'll be like, oh well, like 2010,
It's
which
like,
was like 7 years.
ooh, such a distant future that is. So yeah, I'm not quite sure, like in general, the way because I think it has some sort of charm to it, in a way where it does come out dated. It could be like a Mega Man thing, for example, where like at the start of Mega Man it's like 20XX, like you don't know which
Mm,
date it is, but like there are some films where it's just like it's kind of a laughable thing. Like I think it's Escape from New York or Escape from LA. It's like in the distant future of 2001, like shit like that,
yeah.
where it's like, oh no, like I don't know. It depends, especially when it comes to space. It depends on what's happening in the world. Like from Valerian, it was showing the year 2030, which is apparently like when the whole SpaceX thing is happening, and so it's
Mhm.
kind of got the accuracy thing. It's just doing present day, so
Oh, okay, I see.
I
Yeah,
don't
I
mind
don't
it.
know. Like, I always kind of see it as a way to try and make. Like, I don't know if it's actually the reason, but it kind of feels to me like it's a way to try and get people immersed in the film because it's like, oh, 2017, that's right now, kind of thing.
Yeah,
But I don't know. I think it kind of falls short personally in regards to it because the only thing I think about is like, oh, that's just gonna get dated
yeah. It's like
really quick.
it's like that's gonna be dead in literally a few months. Like that's it.
Yeah, like yeah, in a few months exactly. But yeah, um, but
And
yeah,
then
and have oh yep, sorry, go.
no, you go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say like whether you've been watching anything else.
Just recently just watched Rick and Morty.
Oh, episode 4.
Yeah, episode 4. Yep,
Mm-hmm.
some good shit right there. Like that was it's a basically a parody of the Avengers, which I found really
Yeah,
funny.
Avengers. Oh, Guardians of the Galaxy.
It,
Like
it, it
yeah,
felt
just like
like
yeah,
well that's it.
superheroes in
It's a bit of
general.
both. Yeah, because it was like the whatever they were called. It starts with V. It's the A Avengers thing upside down. It's even making fun of I think Rick said something along the lines of just like once again being like they just cookie cutter characters and they all say they have morals but they don't or something like that. It was something a weird line where it's like oh shit, they're calling out the Marvel stuff. It was pretty funny. Even yeah.
I had to do a bit of a double take because I was just like, their second adventure. I don't even remember the first adventure, right? And so I had to look it up, and it's like, yeah, like it's an off, so it's an off season adventure that they went on. So it's not anything that like anybody like. It's not in any of the previous 2 seasons.
Mm,
It's something that it's an adventure that they've had, and this is the second adventure or third adventure, as you kind of find out
yeah.
um, in the show. Did you watch the kind of because what is it? What's the place that releases Rick and Morty again? Um,
Adult Swim.
Adult Swim. Did you see how Adult Swim like released like a teaser for this episode?
I didn't know. What was that though?
So again, spoilers. So basically, they kind of tease the kind of big villain that uh Rick ends up killing in the episode, and they tease him to be like this like humongous, like the most toughest villain that like Rick and Morty's ever faced and stuff. And so, but then like as you watch the episode, Rick like ends up killing him while he was drunk.
Mm.
So it's just like this like really interesting teaser that they did like basically on the day or the day before like the episode release to just kind of like pump people up, only to kind of like
Deflate.
yeah, well, deflate. Well, I mean, it's supposed to just kind of be a gag.
Yeah.
I can imagine like them do. I'll see if I can find it, so I'll link it to you. But yeah, it's just ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the Rick and Morty basically way, where it's just like I feel like the show is the reason why I like the show is it's a lot smarter than people generally think it is. Like a lot of the episodes and things like that, it's a deconstruction of life, humanity, or whatever the things are, and that's why I find it funny because it's like these heroes inflated up, and then because Rick is a man of science type of guy, he's kind of like from what I understand of the show is he's supposed to be the smartest person in the whole universe, including like parallel universes. This is why like the Council of Ricks hate him. It's because he's smarter than all the rest. So he finds nothing enjoyable in life because he is the smart person. So he has to play around and be stupid for other people, and try to show everyone like, hey, everything that you like and everything like this is stupid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, just to try and cope, or make himself like feel good.
Mm.
Yeah, no, I think Rick and Morty. I think in general people think pretty highly of Rick and Morty. They don't really like approach it as a um kind of by the numbers like adult TV show, like Family Guy or something like that. I don't even know. Family Guy's still ongoing, right? Like I think
Yeah.
it's been a while since I've watched a
Once
Family
again,
Guy
I
episode.
think no one cares about Family Guy like since they like killed off but came back Brian or whatever the dog. So it's just like no one cares. Like it exists.
Brian,
It's like
they killed off Brian.
yeah, they did a whole thing where it's like, oh my god, they killed the family dog, and then literally like a few episodes later they bring him back. I don't know how, and they're just like, okay, there was just a publicity stunt. Like it reminds me of kind of like The Simpsons, where it's like it's still going. I don't know about the quality of it, but it's still going and it's happening.
Yeah, I
So
mean, yeah, I mean, I guess that's the thing with the kind of serial TV shows. Again, like I think one day I do want to watch like all the Simpsons at least. But I don't know when I can do that in like a world full of like good quality like TV shows such as Rick and Morty. But we'll see. Yeah. How have you been liking this season?
see, that's the thing. Not as much as you think, and like there's a lot of like there is a war going on about Rick and Morty fans. There's like one side where
Oh,
it's like
really?
this season's awesome, and the other people are like this season's bad.
Mm,
Um, and I guess because it's growing popularity, it's got like a lot of different people going on. I don't know. I feel like
yeah, yeah.
the jokes are, I guess, less substance. Like the episode before, the one with Pickle Rick, I honestly thought
Mm,
was one of the worst episodes. Aside from the like, because that's the thing, there wasn't really much of a like, it wasn't that much of a gag. Like nothing was deconstructed. The only thing deconstructed was like Rick being like he wants to get out of family stuff. But
yeah.
it felt very stupid. Like I'm like while I was watching it, I'm like this show is smarter than this.
Mm,
This could have so much potential, but basically it was like, hey, look, I'm Pickle Rick, and I'm just gonna like kill everything for about 15 minutes. It's gonna be this big stupid action thing. Like so, I
right.
didn't like it that much, like in comparison, and like I don't really like see like episode two. Don't really remember that much. I just remember it was like a Mad Max thing, and I felt that was alright. And episode one, the one they did on April Fools, which is kind of smart, by the way. I like that one. Though I do actually find it funny that because everyone's talking about the Szechuan sauce and everything like that, and
Mm,
I find it funny that people are pulling that joke like that's the next like the cake is the lie type of thing, and
right. Yeah.
it's
Sure.
and it's really and it really interests me because in one of the episodes I don't remember which season you know how like Rick's like, hey, do you remember this? You know, it's like this, and then Morty and Summer start laughing, and then Rick's like, hey, don't be sheep. You don't know what they are. Stop being sheep. And I feel like people who are like, oh, Szechuan sauce, let's bring it back. Like, those are the sheep. Like, I'm pretty sure a majority of people don't remember that sauce, nor or even tasted it. But people are just like, oh, Rick and Morty made it kind of cool. So, Szechuan sauce, everyone. Yeah, like they're sheep. Like anything that Rick and Morty says, they're the sheep.
Um,
And it's like one big meta joke, I feel.
yeah. Well, the thing is, like, I, I, I think like everybody just wants to be a part of the meme, right? Like, it's a bit of a meme.
Mm.
I don't think the vast majority of people, who watch the show had like that Szechuan sauce. Yeah, like I
Something
don't
like
think
that.
most people. Yeah, like I don't think most people. Like I know I never had it. Like we probably wouldn't have it, right? But I think it's like it's just supposed to be a bit of a joke because it's like what that represents, right? Like the whole reason why he did everything in episode one was for the sauce, and I think that's the kind of ridiculousness. That's the kind of stuff people like, and the fact that like if they are able to get um McDonald's to bring back the sauce, it's almost like they did it like they made a meme reel, and I think that's what people kind of enjoy more out of it rather than like of some kind of nostalgia for the sauce. Although that being said, it's not. There is a growing uh, I don't want to say problem, but it's like just a growing like trend where nostalgia is playing like a big role in enticing viewers into like
Member
you know
berries.
yeah, member berries. Yeah, South Park did a very good episode about it. That's essentially it.
Mm.
Um, but I don't think it's the case so much for the first episode. I think I would agree. Like I think the pickle rig. I enjoyed the episode, but you're right. It's not like they did go on like a soapbox, which is kind of good. Like it's like every now and then it's good to have like an episode that's a bit of a filler episode, right? Like it's just like supposed to be a bit of a world.
Is the anime talking in you?
No, yeah, I guess, but like I mean like so I watch Arrow. I watch
Yeah, yeah. I don't
The
worry.
Flash,
I
all
watch The
those.
Flash. I watch all those
Yeah.
pretty like average, kind of trashy, but kind
Yeah,
of
so, yeah, it's
enjoyable
my CW,
shows.
yeah, my CW trash shows, but at least like I'm able to admit that it's trash, right? But
Yeah, I'm not like, oh my
that,
god, this is way better than Game of Thrones, guys. Come on.
but sometimes there is a bit of like gold that's when you find in the trash, and like in particular there was like one episode that they did on Arrow where they were talking about gun control, right?
Hmm.
Um, and like I kind of realized like I was like, is this episode like a gun control like episode where they're talking about gun control
Yeah, I
and
remember that episode. I remember because it stood out.
yeah,
It
yeah,
was
it
so
stood out.
weird. Like it was definitely like a different take on the whole like episode for like one episode. It was like a PSA being like, hey, guns,
Yeah,
guys.
that's right. That's the word I was trying to think about. Like it was like a PSA about gun control. But the thing is, like, I kind of liked it because it built the world and the role that um uh Oliver was taking as like the governor of Star City, right? Because otherwise you just see him like, oh yeah, like he's just a superhero, and then like on his off time he's like 5 minutes as the mayor. But like with that whole episode, it was like showing like, okay, this is like kind of what he's doing most of the time, like trying to deal with laws, trying to deal with like people backlashing. The one kind of thing I liked about the episode is like they didn't pick a side, and I think that's a pretty good thing to do if you're trying to do like a bit of a political soapbox. You don't try and go on both sides. Like both, I think like every supporting character took a particular position and tried to counter. Like they never really gave they would give a counter to it, but it was never like an absolute.
Yeah,
Like,
it was
oh,
never
this
a
is
solid answer
definitely
where it's like drugs are
yeah,
bad, guys. Like it was kind of like we kind of need this, we kind of don't need this. There's two
mm,
sides of the argument, and it's
yeah,
kind of just on a case by case basis. So yeah, I do give it some props there. Instead of just
yeah,
having that like wholesome thing where it's like, and well, everyone. I think we learned something today.
Yeah, yeah.
Yada yada
But
yada.
I guess that's what I'm saying with the Pickle Rick episode. It's kind of like one of those episodes, except it's not like a PSA. Like it's just in there, and it's just like a world building episode. Like it's just an episode to just see that, oh hey, look, there's more to the stuff that's going on. Because the thing is, like, I think the difference is Rick and Morty's usually like how long, like 13 episodes or something like that.
Yeah, it's about, I think it's about, yeah, about 10 or so. It's very
10,
short
yeah,
in comparison
it's
to
very
like other
short.
animated things where it's like 24 episodes. And you're like, oh Jesus.
Animated or even just TV shows. Like Arrow's like 24 episodes, right? And
Yeah.
most of that show has like what you would conceive to be as like filler episodes, like episodes that don't really push the plot that far, but like maybe they'll have like some kind of like janky villain come in this episode and maybe find out that like someone's brother is actually their mother, right? Like it's something
Oh
ridiculous
shit.
at the end. Yeah, yeah, something at the end that they'll just like kind of tease. But like in the grand scheme of things, they didn't need that episode, but it's in there to kind of build up the premise. Because the thing is, like, you don't really know that Oliver and the group are like a team that fights supervillains if you don't have a episode where they're just fighting a supervillain and it maybe doesn't have some direct like relation to the main overall story. And I think it's the same thing with Rick and Morty. Like the guy who they meet in the Pickle Rick episode will probably come back. Like the dude that he saves.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think he's played by Danny Trejo, I think.
oh,
Uh,
is it actually him? I thought it like looked like that guy, but I didn't actually think it was actually voiced by him.
like
That's
honestly, it's Rick and Morty. They like to play like close to the nose type of thing. So like, I wouldn't be surprised if they're just like, hey man, you want to just do this thing for like one episode? And he's like, yeah, sure thing. Because like Danny Trejo is like one of those actors where he just does like literally everything. Like he's in like 150 films, and he's like
yeah, sure.
sometimes he's only there for like 5 minutes, but he's just like he's like, yeah, sure. I actually met the guy for
Oh, you
a brief
met it.
second. Yeah, when I went to San Diego Comic Con,
Oh,
usually
cool.
celebrities have their own security. He was just there by himself, just walking around. Like he just did not
Nah,
give a fuck. He's like, yeah,
he is his own security. That's why.
yeah. I'm looking up his IMDb. Rick and Morty, Jaguar, Pickle Rick. There we done.
Oh, there you go. Jaguar.
Yeah,
So the thing is, I reckon like his character is probably going to be like maybe not a recurring character, but probably a character that will be in the last episode. It's generally a thing that happens
yeah,
with like these kind of shorter shows, and I think that's the thing. Like if you watch like Rick and Morty, it's like a 10 episode or like 13 episode show, and like maybe like for the people who are kind of diehard fans, they want something really like juicy and like story related to kind of you know just sink their teeth into. Whereas like because there's like a short amount of episode that they can watch. And also it's kind of weekly. Like if you're kind of watching it on like a weekly cycle, like if you watch Rick and Morty, and you never watched a Rick and Morty episode before, and you watch all 10 episodes, it's kind of like, oh yeah, this is really good.
mm,
But I guess like if you're waiting like every week for a new episode, and they give you like maybe what's considered a mediocre episode, like I don't think um the episodes were mediocre. There might not be much going on, like in the grand scheme of things, but like I don't think any of them's like bad.
yeah.
Um, but like yeah, if you're waiting on a week by week and you're like a diehard fan, you might be disappointed in the episode. But I think just stick with it. I guess like I don't think it's
Oh,
actually lost
trust me,
much. Yeah.
I'm not gonna
No,
drop the
I'm just
show
saying
at
it.
all.
I'm just saying it more for other people who like are fans of the show. It's just a fandom thing, I guess.
Yeah, damn fandoms, man.
Damn fandom. Yeah, like I think I enjoyed the first episode. The second episode was like good, and then the third episode was yeah. Like I kind of liked all this stuff. Like him kind of like implement like improvising like a suit,
Yeah,
while being a pickle. Like it's just like you see, it screams Rick and Morty. Like because it's ridiculous.
you're just like, what the fuck
But
is this show? If someone just walked in and was like, what the hell is going on? It's like, it's
yeah,
Rick and Morty.
but
It's actually one of the smartest freaking shows out there, actually.
I mean, I kind of say that it's kind of like Back to the Future done by Adult Swim. I think that's like, the best way to kind of describe the show.
Did you see the
Oh,
early sketch that Dan Harmon and the Roland guy did, where it's Back to the Future, but I forgot what it's called. It's like that was the basis of Rick and Morty, and it's like an animated thing. It's on YouTube, and it's basically the same
Oh,
voices, where it's like Marty McFly and everything. Just like you gotta bang you gotta bang your mom, or some
good
shit
thing.
like that. Like
Okay.
so, like it was based off that pretty much. Like
Okay. I mean, it makes sense. But like, oh, okay, that's really interesting. I didn't know there was like an actual like sketch
yeah,
that
there's
they
like a
did for it.
precursor to Rick and Morty where this was like a thing, and then they're just like, hey, why don't we actually make this into something? And that's how it happened.
Oh wow, yeah, that's pretty cool. So yeah, basically watch Rick and Morty if you haven't watched it yet, I guess.
Yeah, like I was there, like season. Like I don't want to be the hipster guys. Like I know everything before it's cool.
It was too late, too late.
Yeah, but
Everyone
like
thinks you
come
know
on, guys, come on, like episode, like freaking first season, not first episode, but first season. But
first season.
something that I was there on first episode, first season. Nice segue, by the way. Game of
Yeah, no, I was gonna say,
Thrones.
yeah, good job, good job. See, I can't say that because I joined Game of Thrones, I think, season 3. So I
Oh
like,
yeah, you're at
yeah,
the peak of its height of like people discovering what the show was.
yeah. I mean, I think it was just because like I don't know, like it's season 3 basically when it kind of peaked, I guess, or like
Yeah.
not. Well, I mean, it's still going,
Mm.
but like in terms of like the popularity kind of going exponential, I guess. Was that season 3?
Yeah, because I think
Yeah.
season
Okay.
three was kind of like the red wedding. That was kind of like where everyone was talking about this thing.
Yeah,
Like,
that makes sense.
yeah. By the way, just a precursor. This is gonna be just a spoiler talk of just what happened
Game of
to
Thrones,
to
yeah.
Game of Thrones. Not only that, but like the books. But then again, it's way past it. So who gives a shit anymore? It's a TV show now, which is unfortunate because
TV show.
I read the books and I'm just like I'm waiting, and now it's
You poor
th-
soul.
there's no point. But yeah, like the red wedding happened and just all that stuff. For example, like I was there episode one, day one, because I heard about it. I'm like, ooh, what is this show? And like I was there, like literally on my Facebook like, status, being like, oh my god, I can't believe they threw Bran off the window out of the first episode, or like
Mm.
or like when Ned Stark died, I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe they did that. I got like 0 likes, 0 comments, because no one had no idea what the fuck I was talking about. If I tried to do that now, I'd be like, oh my god, this person died in Game of Thrones. I wouldn't be pissed off. Like, I was at
Yeah,
I was there where I'm like, everyone's like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? To like, I guess like midway, maybe season two, like season three, that's when everything started to kind of hit the fan, and that's when everyone's like, oh, what is this Game of Thrones thing? Like, I think there's a thing you could like a study that could possibly be done on like TV shows and when does it get its max popularity, or like when does it start hitting that flavor of just like hitting like, oh yeah, people know about it and discovering it, you know?
I think generally when it comes to TV shows, the maximum amount of people who watch the show is during the first season. Um, but I think Game of Thrones is a little bit of like a special case, just because it is like a high production, high budget show, on top of being like a very complex and kind of intimate story if you're like watching it from the beginning. Because like my people I know, like they don't want it to end in a sense, but like I think it's good for it to like slowly come to an end. And if anything, I think it's good that there is like some conclusions that are like being made. Like there are some plot strings that are being tied up
Yeah.
this season, and I think that's a very good thing.
Well, like
Game of
even just
Thrones.
talking about the season in general, like this is far the books, and like because like the book's obviously not written. Like the TV show before that followed the books pretty well and in pretty good detail. There are some things obviously they have still cut, but still it was pretty much a really close adaptation. And since there's nothing to really base any of this on, it is going quick. Like things are getting done. People are meeting together. Like things that has been building up and kind of been promised for like years now is finally coming to like this big crescendo of just like people shit's finally happening. Like for example, what happened in this episode, for example, of I think they met Gendry, and then Gendry like in like 15 minutes time meets Jon Snow and Daenerys. Like if that was in a previous season, that would have taken like 2 episodes before that would have actually happened. You know?
I think the show definitely doesn't have a sense of time and distance. Like it's like the Game of Thrones. They're just everybody's able to like bend space and time in terms of like where they go and how long things take to do and stuff. Because yeah, I was thinking that as well. I think I've been thinking that since the beginning. Like Jon Snow's like, we're gonna go see Daenerys, and then like next scene they're like there at Dragonstone. It's just kind of ridiculous, but I think like I can forgive the show for not being very consistent with like the timeline kind of thing, because I think I think a lot of people have said like this season's been pretty boring. I think this season of Game of Thrones it's just trying to put everything together, especially like
I don't think it's been boring at all. Like I
well,
feel.
I mean season three kind of like sorry, episode three kind of got a lot of naysayers to like take back what they said, especially with the big fight with the dragons, which I think probably I have no idea how much of their budget it costs to do that
Well,
entire
that's
thing.
why I'm assuming there's 7 episodes instead of 10 this year because they're just like, um, budget wise, we need to make these dragons look really good, especially up close. So scrap like 3 episodes because
But aren't they doing 13 episodes next season or
no, I think
something
it's
like
still
that?
8. It's like 8. It's
It's
very
still
small.
eight.
Yeah,
Oh.
like I know this is the biggest TV show at its current moment. Like everyone's talking about it, and they still can't get like enough money. Because from what I gather,
Hmm.
per episode, I think it's about 3 to 4 million, and
Right.
that in TV terms is fucking ridiculous. Like what I've heard for certain TV shows get like 1 million an episode, or even like less than that sometimes, depending on what type of TV show.
Is
So for the
is that
biggest
just
one, to
production?
yeah, like that's generally like production and things like that. So to get that amount of money, like, because that's the thing, movie studios have way more money than TV studios. Like, TV might be the hottest fucking thing right now, and it might be the hottest thing for 5 to 10 years. It still won't get enough, I guess, money than these big studios with all these people bankrolling it in a way. So, like, props on, like, freaking HBO for, everything is good. Nothing looks kind of dodgy in a way, which is actually really good.
Hmm.
Yeah, so like a lot. Okay, so a lot of shit happened this episode. Like, it's hard to kind of like process. Like, for example, at the start of the episode, they killed the Tarleys. All the Tarleys are basically gone except from Sam. So and it's kind of showing like the cracks beneath like Daenerys of like being a ruler, and maybe she's not actually as good as you think she is. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the best kind of theories I've heard is that it's got to be Jon Snow who's going to be the ruler,
Mm,
just because the books is uh, a song of ice and fire, right?
yes.
And he is born of ice and fire, a Stark and a Targaryen.
Mm.
So
Well, that's the thing.
that
There's a lot of parallels in like the books. For example, forgot the name of the swords, like Ned Stark's sword. But it
hmm,
was like it was the snow. It was like something out of snow, and there's a lot of fire. There's a lot of elements where like the fire is the dragons and the ice is the White Walkers. So there is a lot of comparisons, but it is strong. Like I believe it is Jon Snow as well, in a particular way where I felt like even from the TV show as well, like you can kind of feel like there's something more about Jon Snow. And it was this before, like about his origins of like who his mum actually was, and it's that like I feel like it's still his kind of story. So like even part of this episode where he's kind of patting the dragon, and Daenerys is like, "What the fuck?" Like no one has been able to do that. So
hmm.
there's some sort of like thing there where it's like he kind of like in generally kind of has more of a right to be a king because he's like in textbook story form he is the most purest one. Like he is the one that is like never tried to hurt someone out of like malice. He is like the most nicest kind of guy in a way.
Well, I mean, his his characterization is like he's kind of honorable to a fault, right? To the point that like it got him killed.
Mm.
Um, and it's like kind of like a bit of a constant kind of thing that they kind of like went away from as the seasons progressed, in the sense that like doing good things
Get
um
you killed, because
gets you
that
killed.
was the thing with the Game of Thrones, like the first season, where it's
Yeah.
like you win, you die. Like being good gets you killed. So
Yeah.
that's why I
What
think like Jon Snow being the kind of like he continuously does the good things is really proven. Like he's banding up to get everyone together, including Daenerys now, and shit's coming together. It's like maybe you don't have to be a complete asshole who's trying to win the system, like Survivor, for example, to win the
like
Iron
Survivor,
Throne.
yeah.
You know?
I think the other thing is that there's a particular scene, I think, in episode 2 or episode 3, where they talk about Daenerys says, I she says something along the lines of, I'm good at what I do, and I like what I'm good at doing. And Jon Snow says, I don't, right?
Yeah.
And that kind of goes to show that, like, he's good at killing, he's good at being a leader when he wants to be, but he doesn't like having that kind of responsibility. And there's a bit of like, I'm pretty sure, like an adage or a saying that, like, or just kind of like an ideology, I guess, where it says that um those who don't want power are usually the ones that should have power, um in order to like rule or things like that, because they're not going to be corrupted by it. Or at least that's the kind of thoughts behind the concept. And I think in a lot of the ways that's what Jon Snow kind of encompasses, or at least is trying to encompass.
Yeah, because like once again, it was kind of forced upon him. Like his character in general is kind of like he's a bastard, so he kind of doesn't really belong to really anyone. And he's grown into such a character where he joins the Night's Watch, he befriends the Night's Watch, he goes out to the Wildlings, he befriends the Wildlings. Like he's kind of like a person who has no family, but it seems like everyone wants to kind of be close to John in a particular way, if that makes any sense.
Mm. Um, yeah, I remember like in the earlier seasons, I like predicted, like, you know, Rob, that was one of the brothers, right? I
Yeah,
predicted his death like straight away.
yeah, like you're gonna die,
'Cause
man.
yeah, because like there was like, this was back when like people were dying left and right in Game of Thrones. We haven't had something like that happen. Like there's been people who've died, but it's not like a big
Like not yeah,
deal.
not a big deal. Like I remember like even the previous episode where like like how Jamie Lannister or whatever was jumping in the water or whatever, and was just like, dude, he's dead. I'm like, no, 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 you do
No, no way,
more
no way.
reason.
No, no way. Jamie's not going to die. Again, this is the reason, though. Again, this is like spoilerinos. This is like one of the few things that I do know that's, it's kind of book related, but it's also in the show
It's
as
like
well.
did you read the HBO leaks of all the scripts, guys?
No, no, I didn't. I was. Did you hear how apparently HBO offered the hackers like $250,000 in Bitcoin?
Jesus Christ,
Apparently,
that is a living.
yeah, that's apparently the rumor, because I don't know how much they were actually asking from HBO. They were asking for quite a lot, but like apparently, yeah, there's like articles about Game of Thrones hackers offered 250,000 worth of bitcoins
Dude,
to
if
HBO.
they can give me like freaking 10 bitcoins, and I can probably try to do hacking of who the hell did it. Maybe do some
All right,
counter hacking, guys. Counter hacking.
counter hacking. Yeah, that's right. That's what that's what they'll do.
That's what they say.
Yeah, no, I didn't watch the leaked episode. Oh, I don't know anything about what's going on. I've just kind of been like, you know what? I want to watch everything in high definition when it comes out. I don't
Yeah,
want.
we're talking
I
before,
remember
man. No 360p, man. It's gonna be 720p
yeah,
minimum, guys.
exactly, 100%. Um, yeah, and, like this is the same the 90s. Yeah, I can afford to watch things in like it's 720p.
Oh, I love my fat TV right here.
Oh, do you have one of the old school kind of TVs? The I forget what they're called, but yeah.
I don't, but I kind of do. Like, I want to buy an old one just for the old emulation of like
All right, all
for
right.
video game stuff. I'm like, I've heard that's like the way to go. But yeah, anyways,
They
what about Jamie Lannister? What's going on?
so with Jamie, cause there was the kind of fortune teller who tells Cersei that all her kids will die, and that her brother will be the one to kill her in the end.
Mm.
And so now that all her kids are dead,
Aside from
um,
the baby that's in her womb right now.
come on, there's no baby in the room.
Trust me, there's probably a baby, and Jamie's gonna kill. Like even if like I like it's kind of a good story trope where like he is the Kingslayer and he has to kill another king or queen, and
Yeah,
it's
royalty.
kind of like a good fitting for the character in general, like in just like terms of like structure of just like, and it's kind of tragic where like he used to be an asshole guy until he lost his hand, and then you kind of sympathize with him for a bit, and it's gonna be such a big payoff when like for example he has to kill his own twin sister
Are
for
they twins?
are they twins? It's either that it's either they are twins or it's Tyrion Lannister and her are twins. It's one of the two.
Okay, then it's no, then it's definitely those two. I didn't know they were twins.
Yeah, they're a
Um,
set of twins. But yeah, it's gonna be like the
oh,
biggest kind of like oh my god, like tragic moment, like bittersweet moment of like the best, the person that you trusted the most, part of your blood, part also lover, has killed you. Like that is, like to me that's awesome. And like if that does happen, I think that's probably the best way to go. And like Jamie's gonna like probably like either be killed or kill himself while doing so. So I think that's
yeah,
probably
I
where the
think
way it's
I
gonna go.
think I think it's definitely going in that direction, just because like you kind of see because she just has this like hate for um
She
uh
has a hate for Tyrion, and like
Tyrion.
that's the thing. And I think like from early
Well, that's kind
stories
of
of
been
like yeah,
subsided now. That's
mm,
been subsided now. Well, not fully, but like cause Jamie reveals that it wasn't actually Tyrion, it was actually what's her face, the old woman
yes,
from the Tyrells.
the Tyrells. But I still think that there is something there. Like I think she always hated him too, like her dad.
Yeah, sure.
Because it's kind of like he's a midget, he's a small person, he has a deformity, and I think there's always been some sort of kind of hate and tension between them. So I
Yeah.
still think there is something there because like once again like I honestly think the way this season's gonna go, like I don't know where it's gonna end, but I think maybe the way everything's kind of wrapping up really kind of quickly, I do think kind of maybe Cersei will die maybe last episode of this season, or
Okay.
because that's the thing, there's not much left. There's like what two episodes left until the end of the season.
Is it? Yeah. So it's definitely 7 episodes this season.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my thing is like with with okay with those two, I definitely saw like, well, what's the Game of Thrones thing to do? Okay, it's definitely going to be Jamie who's the one who's going to kill Cersei and not Tyrion, right?
Mm.
Because if it's going to be Tyrion, that's very like by the numbers, by the books. Whereas like it's as you said, like it's more tragic if it's like her lover slash brother, um, awkward.
Yeah, very
But yeah,
awkward. Yeah.
but, very awkward, right? But like like that's far more of in line with the writing of Game of Thrones. Oh, by the way, I just want to add, like, with the whole you know, um, uh, Tyrion being a dwarf. Like there was like the one scene where they're down in the basement, and obviously, Jamie's like upset that Tyrion killed Tywin
Tywin.
in the
Yeah.
preview, and then like you can just see it, like he just starts and he's like, "What do you think? Like I wanted to be born this way?" You could see like there was this like kind of emotion that was like about to pour out of him, but then like Jamie kind of stopped it. Like he was just like, "I'm kind of sick of it," but it's like you could see like I think just that just goes to show of the actors, like acting for that scene. Um,
Acting 101.
acting 101. It was pretty. I kind of I felt my boy Tyrion. He survived 7 seasons somehow.
Yeah, because once
Um,
again, it's George R. R. Martin's like favorite character apparently.
oh really?
Yeah, like
Okay.
he loves to write his scenes. So it's kind of like I don't know, like he could die, but I think if he survives, he would probably be still like the hand of the king in a
Hand of the
particular
king.
way.
That
I
seems like, yeah,
That's
that
probably
seems
his
like the
place.
correct thing.
Yeah, because like what else would he do? You know.
Mm.
Yeah, but aside from that, the rest of the episode seemed pretty interesting. For example, like the Sam leaving the ministry or whatever the hell they're called, the people, the ministers, yeah, and
Meisters.
yeah, and they're just like taking all that shit. So he's gonna be like, here's all the good stuff to defeat them. That's happening. You got freaking Gendry gonna make all the weapons for the dragon glass, and like aside from that, like what's it called? Like all the Jon Snow and all the other guys going out beyond the wall, and I'm like, this is gonna be interesting because like as soon as I watched that scene, I'm like, okay, out of all of you seven people, who's gonna die here? Like, I'm like, Jon Snow's not
Hmm.
gonna die. The Mountain, not the Mountain. Was it the Hound? I think he has
Hound.
yeah, his story arc is very weird. Where I think once again he's turned a new leaf, kind of like Jamie in a way where like he has to kind of like prove himself or like the story arc of where this character is going of like self-sacrifice in a way.
Mm. Yeah, I would agree. I think it's got to be like more of the unnamed characters who nobody like cares about. Like it's gonna, well, not nobody cares
The
about,
eye
but
patch
like
guy maybe.
eye patch guy, They've kind of established. Oh, I've never I've died like a trillion times, and the Lord of Light brings me back. So more than likely, he's gonna probably like his goal will be to assist with whatever's on this mission or whatever, and then he'll die protecting uh whatever, or getting their hands on like as a White Walker, right?
Yeah.
'Cause that's what they're trying to do, trying to grab a White Walker, correct?
Yeah, that seems to be the plan. Which
Which sounds
like,
like an awful plan, but
but yeah, because you're not gonna
I don't-
convince Cersei. Because like, if she sees it, she's gonna be like, so what? Or she's gonna be like, yeah, I'll help you guys, and then like backstab him halfway.
well,
Oh, backstab him halfway through one of the fights, and just be like, well, fuck it, like, you know.
yeah, well, I mean, they're just trying to get an armistice at most from her,
A,
which I
a
think like
parlay,
maybe,
if you will.
yes, a parlay, right? Um, I don't know. Like, I think it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm kind of interested to see what's going on in Winterfell at the moment, because we have all the stuff that's happening between Arya, Sansa, and Littlefinger.
Yeah, like did
Um,
did you did you research of what that note said?
no, I didn't at all,
Because
so I have no idea.
yeah, because I do.
Okay, so
And
tell
for
me, what does it say?
essentially that letter was all it's a big callback, like the callback even from season one, where like for example the dagger, for example, to kill Bran, how that
Mm,
comes back.
yeah,
This letter comes back all the way from freaking season one, and it's the
right.
letter that Sansa wrote because she was pressured by Cersei and everyone to be like, hey, Ned Stark, come to King's Landing. We just want to discuss some things. You won't get killed, and he gets killed. So like, and freaking Arya doesn't know that. Like that was back in the day, or like, so I think Littlefinger's play was to get the two sisters to kind of fight, because Arya is kind of like, she's like a little psychopath, and she doesn't really
Yeah.
trust Sansa that much, because all like, if like you realize that like these Stark kids have been separated since season one, and they're all coming together, and they feel like they're completely different people now. So I feel like Littlefinger's play is to be like, maybe try to confront Sansa or kill Sansa or something along those lines is gonna happen.
Well, I mean, to begin with, I'm pretty sure that Arya and Sansa never really got along that much, like in the earlier seasons. Sorry, in the first season rather.
Yeah, because
So they
it
were,
was like, oh, like man, Joffrey's so cool, and then Arya's like, nah, he's not cool, type of
yeah.
thing.
And I think it's kind of also referenced like when they're in the bedroom, and Arya says to her like something along the lines of, "Oh, you like having expensive
Yeah, you
things
you
to
always like the
show
pretty
off,
things.
yeah, so you can show it off, show off how much better you are, or
Yeah,
something along those lines." And like, yeah, obviously, and it's like, yeah, it's really interesting to see that, like, Arya's like saying, "Oh, you say you don't want the power, but that's like what you're thinking about like right now,"
mm.
kind of thing. Which I kind of found funny. I think like it's either gonna go one of two ways. Either like, yeah, obviously like Arya's gonna fall for it, or it's gonna be like Arya, um, it's like fourth dimensional chess, and she knows that Littlefinger, um, has it on purpose, right?
Yeah,
And is trying to set her up on purpose, and it'll eventually lead to her like confronting Littlefinger as opposed to actually being upset at uh, Sansa. That's
yeah,
what I think is more likely to happen. Like the obvious trail is like, oh, you think that she's going to be tricked, but then in reality she isn't. But again, it can go either way.
yeah.
2020 hindsight.
Yeah, like, oh, you mean the
Hindsight is 2020.
2020 election, guys? Come on.
Yeah,
Yeah, but like, yeah, like, yeah, that kind of makes sense in a way where it's like it could be that, or even like I don't think they'll come back, but the men with no faces, I think that's kind of
Yeah, that's Dawn.
Dawn, possibly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
like
it.
I
That which is a bit of a shame, just because it was just like it was a really cool
thing, and then it just
thing.
disappeared really quickly. Like
Well,
that's probably
it
like
just
the
went nowhere.
weakest. Yeah, that's kind of like the weak part of Game of Thrones. It was like Dawn and like her whole thing with that whole place, and like it
Yeah,
was
I
kind of
never
like a
read the
big build up, but then it just disappeared.
Yeah, I never read the book, so I don't know if like that's how it happens in the book, or if that's like ever a really big
From
thing in
yeah,
the
from
book.
what I remember, where the book left off was when she was entering the gate for the first time of the whole school. So it's kind of like
Right.
it's once again the book is like once again so far out now. Like
Mm.
everything is completely different, and it's just like what the hell's going on with this damn thing. So that's the thing. It's like I don't know if they're coming back, and like I don't know, but
Well, I just kind of see it just like a failure. Like that particular arc was a pretty big failure for her character's writing because I don't think like outside of the fact that like you know she became like a great swordsmith and she it's not swordsmith rather like
just a
uh
good person in
fighter,
combat.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and you know and she has her mask and she's very nimble and stuff and the one big payoff um for her joining you know that like group was the fact that you know when she was asked like you know who taught you how to fight like that and she said no one. It seemed like the whole thing was just for that one joke.
well, well,
Because
it was that, or like at the episode one of this
oh yeah when
season of
she
like she killed all the forgot
I
their
saw that
names.
coming immediately. I was like, obviously that's not like that's obviously Arya. Like I don't know. I wasn't reveal.
You were just like in such a be like, yeah, there's why would you open with these guys?
Yeah,
Well,
like I think it was way too obvious that it was Arya. Like especially when it was like, oh, you girl, like don't drink like that alcohol or whatever. It's like
mm.
no, like we're not gonna give it any for like it sounds like him, but it seems like a very like trivial thing to jump at someone about. So like that's why I was like, oh, it's 100% Arya poisoning these guys.
The real question is what the hell's happening with Bran? Because honestly, like to me, he was very interesting, especially in the books. But then like I don't know what he's doing. Like from what the dialogue said in like a few episodes back, where it said, yeah, Bran died in the cave. Does that mean the three-eyed raven guy basically took kind of his body and kind of his form in a way? And yeah, I don't know.
I think like it's this is the thing, like he basically gained like omnipotence, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, a lot of people think like he is that guy, like the old Raven guy. Like they think it's the same dude. Like
Yeah.
they think it's also Bran. Like that's a theory, right? That's why when it's like, are you the same person or something like that? They're like, it's complicated or something like
Mm.
that. There was like a line, like a throwaway line, not a throwaway line, but like there was a line, talking about that. I'm not too sure what's going on with Bran either, but I think it's clear that he is trying to do something to change things because, for example, he gives the dragon glass knife to Arya, and I don't think that's a like just a throwaway thing because oh I don't need it because I'm a cripple, right? He says that,
Yeah.
but I think it's definitely because he's trying to give it to Arya to either protect her or to at least give her an advantage against like White Walkers because it's a dragon glass um, dagger.
Yeah, and that once again call back to like season one. Like a lot of this stuff is like, it's like it's all coming together.
Hmm.
Even in the first episode, like the first scene of that episode is like a bunch of people above the wall like getting killed by White Walkers and getting burned, or even later on where there's all this the three-eyed raven is just appearing all the time, and like you didn't know what that was until way later. So like
Well, yeah.
props to the runners of the show being like all this hindsight of all kind of paying off in a way.
Yeah, I think it's good that they are just bringing up things like, for example, the bastard son, the Baratheon bastard.
Yeah.
Like I when they were talking about, oh, like he had business to do in King's Landing as well. I was thinking, what could that be? And I was just like, oh, it's got to be that like it's got to be and in the area that they filmed it, I was like, oh, it's got to be that dude from that previous season because he just disappeared like
Yeah.
after they took his blood. um, And I was just like, oh, like, all right, that's a really random thing. But like, yeah, now he's back.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, okay, cool. Like they're actually pulling things together
Yeah,
for
he's
this
got
season.
the hammer like his father, Rob
Like his
Baratheon.
father, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't pick on that until I like read like not a review or like something about it. It's like, oh, like look, he likes using a hammer just like his father. And
I'm
I
like,
was like, oh,
that's
that's
like,
really
I
interesting.
see what you did there. It's like, well done.
Good.
Well, do you have
Look
it?
at you, Game of
Yeah.
Thrones.
Well, do you have any thoughts about like wrap any final thoughts about Game of Thrones?
I was just saying, like, my prediction of what's gonna happen. This is what I told another person as well, like one of my friends. Like, I reckon how it's going to like go ahead will be, and it's kind of already doing so because I was predicting this like during the second episode. So now this fourth episode, and I think it makes more sense. And what it's gonna be is at the moment, it's like it's the pre Game of Thrones war, like the Game of Thrones, like the War for the Throne.
Yeah.
It's like the precursor to that war, but in the middle is gonna be them dealing with White Walkers. So so at the moment they're getting like an armistice and they're trying to quell the war so they can deal with the White Walkers and stuff, right? But then once all that's dealt with, then it's going to go back to the Game of Thrones war, and they're finally going to like name a king or name a queen um, through the war, and that's when everything's going to butt heads again, right? Because I don't know who's going to be like. Obviously, like the thing is like, if Cersei ends up being like queen, like that's got to be like the most Game of Thrones ending,
No,
right?
no, no,
Like
no, no, no. That's not it. The most Game of Thrones ending is of White Walkers when everyone dies.
sure,
Like
right?
that.
Yeah,
That
true,
is
true.
like, or like someone destroys like all the White Walkers get
Western,
through. They
yeah.
destroy like the actual Iron Throne, and there's no more kingdom, and then but they still defeat them. Like that's the thing. That's like top. Like everything's
Oh
bleak.
yeah, no, that would actually be pretty interesting as well. Like, as in, like it's all kind of comes down to like holding everything together at King's Landing or something. Like
Mm.
everybody just unites at King's Landing. Yeah, it'd be pretty interesting. You'd think like a potential strategy might be to like go overseas, right? Like I was just thinking about this before. I was like,
It's like an Age of Empires game where like the enemy's taking over your island. You're like, fuck it, I'm gonna build a ship, go to this private island here, and the AI is too stupid to know I'm on this island.
and rebuild,
Yeah,
try and
basically.
rebuild. Yeah, because I was like, well, I mean, like, how else are they gonna get you if, like, unless the sea freezes over as well, and they're gonna walk over to Dawn and walk over
I
to
think they can freeze
they
stuff because
can.
like the water. Even then, they're kind of like zombies, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So they
zombies.
can just kind of walk through water and it doesn't really matter. Like I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure. But
I don't know. It depends. I think in the game, I think Dead Island, like
oh yeah,
zombies could drown, which I always kind of found very interesting. It's like, can zombies drown? Like, does that make sense?
time to find out. Yes, they
Time to
can.
find out, right? But yeah, no, I think that was like I guess my prediction of how the show goes. But I guess like it kind of wraps up both very easily if it's like it kind of prolongs it. Like the White Walker stuff kind of leads into, but I kind of feel like there should be a war, like a big war that happens at the end, and maybe that's what like there was always a prediction that there might be a Game of Thrones movie,
Yeah,
right?
I
Um,
don't think that's gonna happen. I think because that's the
yeah,
thing. They're
no,
probably
probably
gonna do
not.
this, and then they'll obviously do like a shitload of spin-offs because they need something in the universe in a way.
Do you think it's going to be based on stuff after Game of Thrones, the main series, or is it going to be like stuff in the past?
Well, that's the thing. Apparently, George R. R. Martin's supposed to be writing all this stuff anyways, which he has too much stuff to do. Just finish the actual books that you promised like freaking forever ago. But
Yeah.
yeah, like I don't think it should be after all this stuff. I think like it's either during or in the past because like I don't know because the way things might wrap up we don't know, but like I feel like like oh what's 100 years later like it's kind of like like what's so interesting than the white like past the White Walkers, which is probably the biggest threat in this whole fucking thing. Like,
Sure.
I'm just like either you put it in the past, which I forgot it's called like the Battle on the River or whatever it was. That's where the
Hmm.
Mad King and everything. Like you could do something like that. you can do it when Targaryens were like once again rulers and dragons did live. That would be something very interesting. I don't know how the budget would go for that, but something like that,
Sure.
or even some sort of
Well, I mean,
series. Yeah,
they kind of said that like there was like a time of peace under the rule of the Targaryen, right? Like obviously like
mm,
very biased.
yeah,
Um um but like the Mad King was like the last ruler that like everything went to shit after he kind of took the throne. So I think like it was technically just Targaryen rule for like for ages. So I think the only thing that they could really do is like do stuff about like the origin of certain characters, like the origin of like Ned Stark and like Littlefinger, and like see what brought those characters into what they are now. But I don't think I kind of like the mystery. Like they hint everything at what made these people who they are. Like for example, I think, or maybe it's in the book. I'm not too sure, but like I'm pretty sure like Littlefinger was in love with uh Lady Stark,
yeah,
right?
yeah. I think yeah, that's like pretty much in the books and like the TV show. Like it's well known
Yeah,
that she like loves
but
like
but
her.
I'm pretty sure the what is it? The like John's mother, so like, Lady Stark's sister,
Yeah,
um like I think like made out with him or something in like a drunken stupor, and he thought it was Lady Stark.
yeah,
Again, like this is all just like me kind of putting together what I've been told. Like it could all be wrong. Viewers discretion,
yeah.
right? Fake news and all that. But yeah, like I think I don't know. I kind of wish that nothing else ever comes from the series. Like after it finishes, like it should just be like that's it. Everybody remembers what Game of Thrones is. Let's like um push it, but I know they're just probably gonna um kind of uh get as much blood out of the stone
Yeah,
um
like
as
that.
they
Yeah,
can.
that's not how like things work. If it's successful,
Yeah,
it's gonna
I
have so
know.
much. But yeah, like once again, it's like either you do something set in the past, probably not in the future. But like I also say, so much in the past that you don't see someone like, oh, here's Ned Stark, and that's a Star Wars episode one like prequel thing. Or it's like, what are these
Sure.
characters up to before they were this character? Like I hate that idea. But like the only thing I can think of is like that, or do a spin off like during the events of Game of Thrones, but following particular characters that either didn't get in the limelight, or like there could be another different story of like other. It could be like a small like story driven, very small story about particular characters, and it doesn't have to be sprawling epic where it's like we go to this location. This location could be very like, in
I don't know.
one
I think
kingdom with particular problems itself.
Yeah, the thing that I see is like the moment people think like it's a spin-off of it, it's not going to get as much attention. Like that's the way I see it with something like Game of Thrones. Like if it's not something like that the people will think is vital for like the main story, it's not going to do as successful as Game of Thrones is. Unless, obviously like they put a lot of like effort into the writing and
Yeah, like
um
you can clearly
I think
see it with Fear the Walking Dead. Also a bad show that
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I've
keeps it
heard that's
chugging along.
awful.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I've
just it
heard
just
that.
doesn't have likable characters like the TV show
Walking
and
Dead
the comic
shows.
book. Yeah, like I'm just like there's this random stoner guy who's like freaking the most annoying thing. Yeah, it's like a bad show, but it still keeps it going.
Is there like a set time frame for when um Fear of the Walking Dead is gonna stop? Like because like it's before the infection or
Oh no
whatever?
no 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 no! That's the thing. It was before the infection for like 3 episodes. Like,
Okay.
and then basically that first season was basically when everything kind of started. So like they're well in like it's infected territory. Just the only difference is these characters are in the west coast of America, so California and everything like that. But like yeah, I feel
Oh,
like I think season 3 is happening right now. I wouldn't be surprised if the fourth season is the final one and they just wrap it up because like
okay.
shit's happening. Like in the news actually technically like today it was Robert Kirkman, the creator of Walking Dead, comic book, and show running kind of the TV show, is he's leaving AMC and is going directly to Amazon, and he's
Oh,
probably going to do some Amazon stuff. So I think like
yeah, some
yeah,
oh, okay.
they've
Fair
kind of
enough.
like lost their like heading in that particular way. So we'll see. Like get like to me like the top TV shows for me that I like to watch is Game of Thrones and Walking Dead, and
Yeah.
like Walking Dead gets a little bit more scrutinized and probably rightfully so, but like it's like it's very interesting how that goes, and obviously we might have to do some sort of review on that at some point as well if you're
Yeah,
into
I
Walking Dead.
actually I don't mind because I don't watch Walking Dead, so you can give me like a good I just know the Carl meme.
Yeah, the coral meme. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's about all I know. My extent of my knowledge from Game of Thrones and like what is it? Negan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like,
People.
wait, like, have you watched any episodes, or what's the deal?
No, no, I haven't. I just know because like I've worked in one of my previous jobs was selling pop culture items, and one of the more popular ones was a Negan pop toy.
Yeah, everyone
And
sure likes the asshole.
yeah, like yeah, and his bat. I think there was like a
Yeah.
bat that he had. Like yeah, there was like a replica bat that people
Yeah,
wanted.
like
Yeah,
his name is the bat's name is Lucille.
Lucille, right? Yeah. To before we go off topic, I was just gonna say, with Game of Thrones, like I think it's a good, like things are going well, and the future looks bright for it. Like yeah, I'm looking forward to see how things progress into the final season.
Yeah. Like, do you think people are gonna be, I guess, unhappy, like in some sort of way, because it's so hyped up, and like if someone doesn't get the ending that they really want, will they get it?
Um, I don't know. I hope not. Like, I think that the show, like, people will be upset because, like, I know a lot of people want Khaleesi or Daenerys to be the ruler in the end, but I don't think it's gonna happen. Um, I think they did hype her up like from the beginning, from the get go, because she just like steamrolls everyone. But I don't think that my personal prediction is she isn't going to get it. Like they might show me up. It might be that it's her in the end, but I personally don't think it is. But if people get upset, like I think that just goes to show just how invested people got into the show, and that just shows like how passionate people are about it, really. And I think that yeah, that just goes to great service of great TV, really.
Yeah. Well, that's our talk about Game of Thrones and our spoiler talk. And that's kind of a wrap of the first episode. So if you have liked this thing, I don't know where I'm putting up. I'm putting it on YouTube first, and go on different podcast things. But yeah, obviously at some point get those reviews going. Try to submit like ideas of what to talk about and things like that. And just a particular segment that I want to do is it's called Pick of the Week, and generally, what I want to do is something to pick from. Like it could be new, old, whatever it might be. It could be a TV show, movie, book, an album, even. So, Chowder, what is like something that you want to suggest, like to people to like
Oh,
consume?
just to watch or
Oh, like
just
like
to
anything, like once again, like a book, a video game to
yeah
play,
yeah
anything.
oh what comes to mind? Yeah, you put me on the spot. I am going to probably suggest Rick and Morty. Like if you haven't jumped on Rick and Morty yet, like just watch it. You'll enjoy it.
Well, they better, I guess. So,
No pressure.
yeah, yeah. Once again, it's the new hotness. There's actually a war going on between people who like BoJack Horseman and Rick and Morty, and which one's better.
Why is there a war?
Yeah, once again, there's a
There a
war between
war?
Rick and Morty, and as well as a war of BoJack Horseman and Rick and Morty being like, which one's the funnier one?
Oh come on! Like they're both funny. They both have their soapboxes. They're both funny. Come on, get off it.
Yeah,
Get off it, internet. Come on.
yeah. Well, that's us from the Pancake Parlay, and we'll see you next episode. See ya.
See ya.